What you are seeing right now is the E100, a tier 10 super heavy tank available in the German tech tree and playable in both World of Tanks PC and World of Tanks Blitz. What you are seeing now is the mouse, a tier 10 super heavy tank from the German tech tree, playable in both World of Tanks PC and World of Tanks Blitz. And what you are seeing right now is a scaled version of the historical version of the E100, aka the E100 Phase 2, if I'm not mistaken on the name. It's possible that I'm wrong, which is definitely looking like two things you already know, the E100 and the mouse. If you're a nerd, and specifically an history nerd, you will find by yourself that the Panzerkampfwagen E100 from its real name is basically a two-model version of the same tank, because the E100 was supposed to either give out what we have currently in Blitz, or what I just showed you through the model we saw. And what is lovable about this model is that it's the perfect combination between the mouse and the E100, because here you have the hull of the E100, and here you have the turret of the mouse. Obviously, we know it, Wargaming will never get such a tank in the tech tree because there is no point. I mean, there is the 100 that is different than the mouse. Both of them have their statistics, characteristics. The E100 being the big hitting guy with its 640 alpha damage gun, and the mouse being the big tank guy, a tank by its support role, which is the tank that will bounce and will get more hit points than any other tanks. But imagine a world where we have the mouse in the tech tree, E100 in the tech tree, VK7201K in the tech tree, VK9001P as a collectible, and the last prototype of the E100 as a premium, because there are multiple things that makes me believe that this tank would be a great premium. Why would it work well? Simply because it wouldn't be as broken as both the tanks combined. Yes, of course, if you give an E100 the same armor as the mouse and the mouse the same gun as the E100, you get yourself two tanks that would be broken. But if you make a combination of both and take all the disadvantages of both tanks, you get yourself a suitable premium, because after all, both the downsides of the tanks are not terrible, but they're still working nicely enough together not to be too much of a problem if it was made into a premium. Let me take you an example. The tank you saw, if it has the cheeks of the mouse, it means that with gold shell you can easily go through the cheeks, the turret cheeks, which means that you are not impossible to penetrate like a Type 71, which is definitely more broken. At the same time, if you give it a huge alpha damage gun, it means that you have a huge reload time, which means that in definitive, you are going to get a reduced DPM, but maybe that it would still work well. In my opinion, it would be fun, because having 640 alpha damage as a heavy tank is always fun. Just take a look at the VK7201K, take a look at the 100, all those tanks are really nice to play with, and you're going to have a lot of fun when you hit those 640 marks. Now, if you take the mobility, let's say that the E100 is a little bit faster than the mouse, then the tank we saw previously, the model, would be a little bit faster than the mouse, but still worse in terms of mobility than the regular E100. So on this point, the tank would be balanced. And finally, for the armor profile, as I just mentioned, the turret cheeks would be weak, and the hull would be the exact same as the one we have on the E100. The only difference could possibly be to increase a little bit, maybe by 5mm, the lower plate armor of the tank, where the weak spot is located, to give it a little bit more chances at bouncing than the regular E100 that is literally too easy to penetrate. But now that the 9.1 update is up, and now that all those tanks got nerfed, buffed, etc., in my opinion, it would be a nice addition. But if Wargaming does that, it's not going to be pretty soon, because they have multiple projects to deal with before. New gun sounds, new lines, the new Italians that we talked about on that channel, etc., etc. And the thing is, with Wargaming being buzzy H24 on new tanks and not necessarily tier 10 tanks, it makes me believe that if we see something like that, it's going to be in very long time. On top of that, Wargaming could literally make it a Tech Tree tank, because after all, it could be a nice addition to the E75, because from the E75 you could have the choice between the regular E100 Phase 1 or the E100 Phase 2. I'm not against that either, because it would give us some diversity into the picking of our tank at tier 10. Like they did with the T-54 that leads you to either the Object 140 or the T-62A. That would be a great addition, but currently we do not have any infos on that, and we can only purely speculate. But it would be a great addition, so please, Wargaming, watch that video and do it. I really want to have the pleasure of playing an E100 Phase 2, because I'm curious to see how Mouse Turret is going to react with an E100 gun. And maybe that you are too, guys, because if that's the case, feel free to subscribe, like, and share, and tell Wargaming on their official Discord server that they could do something with this model. That would be awesome, and I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. Bye.